Hey everyone, I'm doing a recorded video because I'm not sure what happened to the live, but it only captured 4 minutes of our live series, and so I'm not sure, but I'm just doing a recording here, so you're seeing it now. But I want to continue the conversation on the Widow to Widow live that I do every week. This month, I'm doing a 4-part series called April Showers, Soul Showers. And it's all about, about the seasons that we're going through as a widow. Like this is the season of widowhood for many of you that are watching this, right? Or maybe you're not a widow and this is a season of grief for you. So this is open to you as well for anybody that's watching and needs a safe space to feel and honor their human emotions. So April is a month when everything around us seems to be blooming, right? But if you're grieving, it can feel like everyone else is waking up and you're still learning how to breathe again. Sound familiar? I get it. I remember that too. And it's been 10 years, or July 17 will be 10 years for me. And this month has been a really tough month already for me, heart heavy, and really just a reflection of everything that I've been through in my life since Frank died. And it's amazing what can happen in 10 years, but even what can happen in the first year, in the second year, in the third year. And so I am reflecting back on that journey, and I'll be sharing that with everybody here on YouTube as well. I'll be doing some different videos coming up in honor of Frank and 10 years of being in heaven. But today is all about you and holding that space for you, right? So before we dive in, I just want to speak to those of you that are crying every day, maybe multiple times a day. Those of you that are feeling just so exhausted because you can't sleep, you're so restless because your mind and your heart just won't let you rest. Or maybe you're that person who feels like maybe I just need to take meds to take care of what I'm feeling, or maybe people are suggesting that you do that. But there's a big part of you that is tugging at your heart and saying, don't do it, right? And I want to encourage you to sit with your grief, because grief is normal and natural. It's not a mental health disorder. You're grieving. You don't have a mental health condition. Your tears are all so normal and necessary through this journey of grief. And you're not broken. You may have a broken heart, but you yourself, you're not broken. I know it feels like you may be, right? It's a metaphor that we use to express how we actually feel. Like I used to say, half of me died when Frank died, right? It's an expression of the grief that we're feeling, the love also that we're feeling, right? Because we love so much, we feel so broken, but it's brokenhearted. Your heart is broken, right? Did a big part of us die when our husbands died? Yeah, I think so. A big part of our identity, who we were in this life, when they were here, we're different now. We'll never be the same, right? So I get why we would say those things, but a lot of times when we frame it to say something else, then it can seem a little bit different as well. Your perspectives can shift and change. We'll talk about that on another call. Today, let's talk about the theme of our day, the theme of today, which is rain as a metaphor for grief, right? So grief can feel like a storm that never ends, right? I get that. The clouds can feel heavy, and the downpour, just constant downpour. And this is probably true in real life in a lot of the East Coast states. And so for those of you that are experiencing the big storms, the tornadoes, the thunderstorms, the lightning, all of that stuff, the flooding, my heart is with you. I'm praying that you stay safe, because I know that is not easy. Meg and I just went through the big earthquake. We're here in Bangkok, and that was super scary. If you follow me on Facebook, you'll see my post on how that really affected me my heart, my body, my mind. It was a big deal. It was a big deal, right? But here's what I want you to hear today. Rain is not failure. Rain is not the end. Remember, rain is the metaphor for grief, right? So I'm going to be referring to your grief as rain. So rain is not failure. Rain is not the end. So it softens, right? It softens the hard ground, and rain nourishes the soil, right? So think about that, just like your tears. Your tears are beautiful, sacred tears because you're crying out of love, right? You are watering your soul. So this today is not about avoiding the storm or pretending that it's not there, right? Pretending that it might be sunny outside. It's about learning to sit with it, learning to sail through it, and trusting that something inside of you is still growing. Right? You're moving through your grief. That's what we want to do. So I want to invite you to just reflect for a moment, become aware, right? When is your grief, when does that storm feel so heavy for you? Is it in the mornings when you wake up and you realize that you're all by yourself? Is it in the evenings when you're going to go to bed at night and you realize that you're going to bed by yourself? Or is it certain dates on the calendar, anniversaries, birthdays, holidays? When is that storm the biggest, the heaviest for you? I know for me, early on in my grief journey, it was in the evening. I could not find myself able to go to sleep knowing that Frank wasn't beside me. It was in the evenings when the kids were finally in bed. No one was at my house visiting, keeping me company. And I was all by myself. The silence was deafening, and it was the hardest part of my day. It was a time when I would cry the most when I was by myself. And then I'd wake up with these puffy eyes. Didn't really sleep much. I probably was napping in and out, but my eyes were so puffy from crying all night. And so the evenings were tough. So what is it for you? Type in the chat and let me know, in the comments. Type in the comments and let me know, when is your storm the most heaviest for you? Mornings, evenings, or a certain date on the calendar? The other thing I want you to reflect on is, what are the feelings in this storm? What are you feeling? I know for me in the beginning, I had a hard time expressing exactly how I felt. I couldn't explain to anybody, even to myself. It just felt like so many different human emotions that were spinning out of control. And so the one word that I came up with was overwhelmed. I was so overwhelmed with all of these human emotions. I kind of grouped it all together and gave all of the human emotions I was feeling one word. It is so important to name what we're feeling, and I know it's not easy because we weren't ever really taught throughout life to express bad, painful human emotions. We stuff it down before we can even name it, before we can even recognize what it is, or maybe we're denying what we're feeling and we're shutting it down before it can even have a name, before it can even become truth in our life, right? And so this makes it difficult for us to name our human emotions. So I want you to just sit for a few moments, a few seconds, a few minutes, up to you, and really think about, what are the human emotions that I feel during the biggest part of my storm? When I sat and thought about that, the first word that came up for me was fear. I had this big fear that I couldn't do life without Frank. I was afraid to. This is why I used to say in the beginning of my journey that I didn't know how to participate in my own life. I didn't want to, because I was afraid that I didn't know how to. I was afraid that I wouldn't be a good enough parent without him. Frank and I were a great team together. And even though our kids were all adults at the time that he died, they still looked to me to guide them through this storm. And I didn't know how. I had grandchildren, granddaughters that were tugging on my leg, wanting me to play with them, to laugh with them, to smile with them. And I didn't know how. I was afraid that I was going to let them down. So there was so much fear that came up for me. But as I sat with it a little bit more, and I started to take actions to heal my heart, more and more of those human emotions started to have a name. Anger, doubt, confused, lots of gratitude, joy in my heart when I thought about all the years that Frank and I spent together and all the memories that we had. So they weren't all bad human emotions. There were a lot of good ones there. So much love. So much love. So if you'd like to share, would love to see it. Type in the comments, what name did you give what your storm is going through? What are those human emotions that you feel in the biggest part of your storm? Type it in the chat and so that we can hold space for you in these moments. Now, if you're watching this, I want you to take a moment to ground yourself. And if you're willing, close your eyes, right? Just close your eyes and imagine that you're sitting by a window and it's pouring rain. And you're watching, just watching. You're inside. You're safe. You don't have any control over the rain, how fast or how slow, how hard it's falling. But you're just watching and you're allowing it to fall. Just sit with that. Watching as the rain pounds on the ground, softens the soil, nourishes the soil. Now imagine yourself. This is you. The tears are pouring. It's your rain. You're allowing yourself to feel and allowing that ground to move beneath you so that you're allowing those human emotions to come forward. And you're safe because grief is normal and natural. So no matter how much rain is coming down, how big your storm is, or how little, doesn't matter. Sit with it and allow it to process and fall. Now I want you to know that there's no shame in breaking down. There's no shame in crying every day or crying multiple times a day. There's no shame in feeling like you're in the middle of a storm. It's okay to not be okay. And I want you to know that your healing is happening even in the rain. Even in the rain, okay? Next week, we're gonna dive into the emotional ups and downs. I will call this series, this episode of the series, Emotional Weather, Navigating the Mood Swings of Grief. And I smiled about that because, oh my gosh, I think I had a lot of people walking on eggshells when I was in the beginning stages of my grief journey, because they didn't know whether I was coming or going. They didn't know if I was gonna get angry, if I was gonna laugh, if I was gonna cry. At the drop of a pin, anything could have happened when they were around me. And so I definitely had mood swings. So how do you navigate through that? So we're gonna talk about that next week. Same time, unless something changes in my schedule, but normally I'll come back same time every week. All right, so if today's message touched your heart, I'd love for you to share in the comments below what you found to be the most valuable. But also, if you know someone who is navigating their own storm, I'd love for you to share this video with them so that they can sit and have that space to feel heard, to feel seen, to have someone hold space for them, and to do their own reflection as they're watching the video. So thank you again for coming today. My apologies that the live didn't take, only took the first 4 minutes. I'll leave that up, I guess. But this is, I will mark this one as the full version of episode 1 of this 4-part series. Wherever you are in the world, please stay safe. Wishing you all love, light, and hope, and I will see you again next week.